So since we got the spoilers Thursday, I have not watched anyone else's content regarding this chapter or have listened to their takes on things that have happened within it. The only person I've talked to is Turtle Quirk, and that was simply just because of the coincidence that we uploaded at the same time on Thursday and had the very same suspicions. I did this because I didn't want to influence my decisions in any way. I wanted to come into this video as pure as possible, and to be honest, at first I wasn't really too into doing this review because I basically had talked about everything in my spoilers video on Thursday. But as I was rereading this chapter, I started thinking and I started backtracking, and my mind was re-blown. Like, I'm honestly almost at a loss for words, which is very rare for me, and it's like, Horikoshi is truly a great writer, and I know most of us already knew that, but there was like a lot riding on this traitor storyline in my opinion, considering that it was set up so early on in the series and it was so hardly ever touched on, and there was so many different suspects. And after reading this chapter and, you know, going back and everything, not only has Horikoshi pulled it off, but he crushed it. Like, I am so happy that he was able to pull this off because I was a little worried. And honestly, a lot of you thought that he like straight up dropped the storyline or forgot about it. But now I can say with certainty that Nezu is absolutely the traitor, and he's a near perfect candidate for being a traitor within this series because there was so much misdirection and hiding in plain sight this whole entire time. And I'm just so impressed by this because we recently just got over a traitor storyline in One Piece. No worries, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was way less apparent, or even go back and backtrack and to have it all make sense the way that the traitor storyline makes sense in My Hero. And I'm definitely not saying Horikoshi is a better writer than Oda or vice versa or anything like that. I'm just simply saying that Horikoshi has truly crushed this, and I know that it hasn't absolutely been confirmed or said on the page or anything that he's the traitor yet, but I am so convinced that this is the case, and after what I'm going to be talking about here, I hope you can see the same. And also, one more thing, let me say that there's obviously way more stuff that happens in this chapter. You know, with Ochako stepping up and defending Izuku. If you've been following my coverage of My Hero, you know that Ochako is one of my favorite characters, and I'm on board for this, and I love that she's coming to one of her big character arcs in the next chapter probably. But unfortunately, that is just being completely overshadowed by this Nezu reveal here, and that's mainly all I really want to talk about. Also, Monoma has like a nice little face moment in this chapter, so that's cool. But anyway, it opens up with like a flashback to Ida incorrectly predicting that Izuku coming back to UA is going to calm the civilians down, because obviously we're seeing that it did quite the opposite. And then Nezu says UA boasts the greatest defense technology in the whole nation. Its security is comparable to the defense capabilities of Tartarus, and that was already like a red flag right there. We all know what happened to Tartarus. I mean, even the students do, because Momo brings it up immediately. She's like, you know, Tartarus was easily destroyed by Shigaraki. And then Nezu says, UA was also broken into last year. We even witnessed the terror of Shigaraki firsthand. And when he said that, the cogs started moving in my brain again. And I was thinking, like, because UA was like the first, you know, big part of the series, which also was like the catalyst for this whole traitor storyline. Even though it wasn't mentioned until much later on, the seed was certainly planted during this stretch of chapters. I mean, even if you go back to all of the old traitor videos on YouTube, most of their information and clues are coming from the USJ incident. But another thing about those videos is that I would say about 90% of them do not suspect Nezu being the traitor. And hey, understandable, because even your boy definitely did not suspect that. I thought it was Hagakure for the longest time, and it was me thinking about USJ that really sealed the deal for me, because I was thinking like, okay, so Shigaraki breaks into with his, you know, ragtag group of makeshift villains, and I was thinking, okay, so how does that situation get resolved? All Might shows up, Goku style, saves everyone. You know, awesome, one of my favorite moments in the series, one of my favorite moments in any battle manga / anime ever. But then I was thinking, like, why does he show up late? And then it was just, oh my god, he was late because Nezu prevented him from going there. And then I went back and reread chapter 15, and it all but confirms that it was Nezu the whole time, right in front of our faces. So chapter 15 opens up with us seeing All Might like having this internal monologue, and he's like, I can't seem to contact 13 or Aizawa. Good reasons or not, I should put my hero work ahead of teaching. That was quite foolish. What do I tell them when I show up at the end? Anyway, I should be fine in another 10 minutes, thinking that like, you know, I could just not go to the USA and just show up despite, you know, not being able to get in contact with the other teachers. But then All Might being All Might, it's like, no, what am I thinking? I'm going. And as he's about to go to USJ, Nezu shows up right there at the door and says, hold on, as if Nezu was waiting there the whole time to make sure that All Might wouldn't leave. And what goes on to happen in this sequence is essentially Nezu talk no jutsus All Might into staying and relaxing. Like, he goes out of his way to make sure that All Might does not leave that room. Like, he's softening up the couch, he's getting tea ready for him. And like most of us, I'm sure, when I was first reading / watching this, I just thought, you know, it's just a coincidence. You know, Nezu shows up, he has the best interest in All Might. We assume Nezu himself doesn't know what's going on at USJ. So it's just, you know, like an unfortunate circumstance. Nothing malicious behind it because, you know, why would we suspect Nezu of being the traitor? But no, this whole time it was quite the opposite. And it was at this point where I was just totally surrendered to Horikoshi and finally accepted him as one of the greatest mangakas ever. I mean, that might be controversial, but it's really not as common as you would think that a story is this well crafted and compelling as My Hero Academia is. Obviously, it's not perfect and it has a lot of issues just like every other series, but this is just masterful in my opinion. Now, there's a whole other things that I talked about in relation to Nezu being the traitor in my video on Thursday. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about Nezu being the traitor in the comments. Are you convinced? If not, if you still believe that it's somebody else, please let me know. Give me a compelling case as to why it's not Nezu and why it could be somebody else. But if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.